You're listening to the Good Question Podcast with Richard Jacobs. Our goal is to make each of our guests exclaim, that's a good question. I don't know the answer. Because when that happens, it means you, the listener, may be inspired to learn more beyond the interview and to ask great questions yourself that lead to new insights. In this podcast, we cover historical and current anthropology, comparative religion, and history. Welcome, and let's get started.
Hello, this is Richard Jacobs with the Good Question Podcast. My guest today is Jesenia Orozco. She's a litigation paralegal. The company is called Less for Legal, LLC. Less, L-E-S-S, the number 4, Legal, L-E-G-A-L. So Less for Legal, LLC. So welcome, Jesenia. Thanks for coming.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Tell me a bit about what first put paralegal on your radar. What made you want to go into it?
So basically, to make a long story short, I was a teen mom. I was pregnant when I was around 16, and I had always been interested in law. And when I got pregnant, I was like, what can I do that I can eventually have the flexibility to take care of my daughter? So I thought I'd go through law school, and eventually it came out to, why not a paralegal? It's a shorter, and I could help out people, and I could eventually maybe kind of work on my own. So I think the motivation was really my daughter.
Yeah. Well, so how long have you been doing paralegal work, and what practice areas have you specialized in?
Family, litigation, and immigration law firms. I was interested in criminal law when I was a kid due to a personal experience, but I kind of shifted my focus to family litigation and immigration services.
It seems like, I would guess, family can maybe get ugly. What's it like to work in family law? Is it really tough emotionally?
Wow, we see a lot of everything. I think we're dealing with people on their worst times of their lives. I mean, who really gets married thinking about they're going to get a divorce. So definitely a lot of emotion is involved in these cases. For sure. Gets ugly.
So what kind of stuff will you do to help support the attorney? What are some of the duties?
Definitely. Paralegals are really important in law firms because they actually, first, I believe that they help the attorneys a lot. We free a lot of their time in order for them to focus on the cases that are being highly litigated.
Tell me, so what do you do for the attorneys? Like, how do you support them, and what's the benefit of your work for them?
Definitely. Paralegals bring a lot of skills and knowledge to the table. They really help the attorney navigate through the process. I believe that we are highly important in a law firm because we actually free up their time so they can focus on the higher level of responsibility, like dealing with trials, preparing for depositions. We do the drafting of contracts. We do pleadings. We deal with discovery. And discovery, for instance, it's a lot of paperwork, and it will definitely free up a lot of time for attorneys. Having a good paralegal deal with all their discovery and financial disclosure, especially on the divorce cases.
Oh, so what kind of items are needed in discovery? I know every case is different, but what's an example?
Every case is different, and I'll talk for family litigation cases. There's cases that involve alimony, child support, time sharing. There is a significant amount of time that is utilized to organize documents, discovery, like financial disclosure forms or documents that are needed in order to, come up with a number for a marital settlement agreement, for instance. And also the communication with the clients. There's a lot of going back and forth. There's, intake forms that need to be added to the files. There's updates, there's follow-ups that definitely it helps when the paralegal's involved and they do all these tasks for the attorney.
So the average attorney that would have a paralegal, like how many cases at one time are they juggling? Ballpark.
Wow. There's cases that maybe it depends on the firm's size. I actually work for a litigation law firm, and I'm handling currently 120 cases. So it really depends. But it becomes easier as you work on the cases because you kind of have to know the deadlines for when to submit things to the court, the process of the procedure. And once you've been in a law firm long enough and involved long enough on these cases, you kind of get to know the clients. You're very involved in what it is that they're going through and what's next on their case. So it is important to have very organized paralegals in your firm, for sure.
How do you deal with the emotions of 120 different situations? Some of them, I'm sure, really, really difficult.
It's hard, and I'm kind of a very emotional person. So I kind of, it stays like, we deal with single moms all the time. We deal with people who are, have with disabilities. So it's a lot on me. I kind of try to separate kind of like my normal life. And also another thing, it's like when you're thinking about, oh, but do I want to get married one day? It's like, we're dealing with divorce after divorce after divorce. It starts kind of like affecting you like, wow, these people are like, they hate each other. So like kind of,
Maybe you should volunteer as at like a wedding place, that you feel better.
it's funny because, yeah, we deal with it's a lot, and as a notary, as a Florida notary as well, I can marry people. I'm actually doing the ceremony for my cousin next week. And I'm like, what? I'm going to do something fun, different than the drama I deal with.
So what do you see on the back end here? Like why, I know it's getting a little bit off topic, but why do so many people get divorced? Like what are some of the common problems you see?
I'd say there's a lot of financial issues. I also think a lot of people, just the emotional problems that they might have, just basically, learning to really love and accept yourself and understanding the differences like that you have versus the other person. And, actually getting into the marriage, knowing, what you're getting yourself into. I think that if you really work it out and you're willing and you really love the person, it could happen. It's hard. I mean, we have people that, maybe they thought that they were going the right direction. And then all of a sudden it's like, no, this is not it. Or, then we have a lot of people that turn to be abusive, and there's people that have no idea. But I think it definitely helps if you have healed your own traumas as a child. I think you will be able to make better choices throughout your life. And I think healing has a lot to do with who you pick as a partner, honestly.
Interesting. And do you see that the people that are getting divorced, do you ask about their childhoods, or do you know, or that usually doesn't enter into the case?
Definitely not. That's very personal information. I come to the conclusion based on my own personal experiences throughout my life. I'm kind of a deep thinker, so I kind of like I know 100% that I really want to really know that I'm okay, that I'm healed, that I'm willing and good person, a good person for somebody else, that I have something to bring to the table in terms of not talking about finances, but as peace. I value my peace. That's like my most important. Anything over my peace. So I know that I don't want somebody that's going to bring problems into my life. So I really think about a lot of things deeply, especially having this job, for sure.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. I have, 3 teenagers. So, and their friends, some of them come from, seems like good homes. Some of them come from messed up homes, but a lot of them come from homes where like, this is my dad's house. This is my mom's house. And I go back and forth, if I'm lucky and stuff.
And I'm one of those people, I'm definitely one of those people. My daughter's one of those people. I was married really young, and we only lasted maybe 4 years, and everybody went their separate ways. So yeah, I'm one of those people. But I also have learned, throughout my case with her father, like when we separated, it was like our priority, our main focus was our child and keeping her mentally stable. So we kind of kept her out of the drama. And I think that's one of the biggest issues with people. Like they involve their children and they stop them from going to their father's house, or they stop them from going to mom's house. And they involve the kids in all this just litigation that it's just not necessary.
Yeah, that's really tough. How do you separate then your role and what you do at work versus, you go home and now you're back to being Jesenia again, a regular person?
I enjoy cleaning my house. Honestly, I love cleaning. I could turn on some music, turn on a candle, clean my house, at the end have a seat, drink some tea, and I kind of just try to disconnect. It's just a matter of being able, like knowing, okay, now I'm here. It's time for me to focus on myself. So I kind of have to take my mind, like take the hat off and wear my hat again, my own.
Gotcha. So how do you deal with so many cases? Let's say someone calls in, Bob Smith, and it's case like 86 out of 120 you're dealing with. Do you have to like go grab the file, open it up, read through it quick, and be like, oh yeah, so-and-so, or like how do you calendar so many things and know that nothing's going to slip on all these files?
For a paralegal, it's very important to be organized. In the law firm, we have another paralegal. So we have one attorney, 2 paralegals. And I think we juggle with things, as they come in. I do a lot of the signups as well, and like for the new cases. So I think it's just very important to keep everything organized and to delegate correctly what each person is doing. And then we do weekly meetings with the attorney, like, hey, so and so, we have this motion coming up. Do you need to schedule a hearing? Do you need discovery? Deadlines coming up. So we kind of keep, we have to stay on with these cases just so nothing falls through the cracks. And I think that's how most firms do it.
No, that's a lot. What makes a good attorney to work with, and what makes one that is not so fun to work with?
Let me tell you, and I've worked with a couple attorneys. I think personalities. I mean, you are not going to click with everyone. I think that everybody's different. We all have different personalities. I think just, having that respect there, it goes both ways. I think if if you respect yourself and you value your own work and you value the attorney's time and the work. I mean, one attorney I was working with, he was very the attitude was just out there. And I just, listen, I'm trying to help you. So we need to keep it kind of just respect, no yelling, no, because and I understand and it's part of understanding that we're all going through dealing with everybody else's issues. So it gets intense and it gets tense and we're all human. So I think just putting it out there and kind of building that level of respect, it's important. And I understand you're working, but we're both working and I'm trying to help you. So let's keep it all nice and ethical and respectful, and everybody stays in their lane and nobody talks to nobody some type of way, because I think that's important, especially when you're dealing with people like attorneys or, other paralegals that are under so much stress. And I think that's the case with most places. I mean, with most of your jobs, a lot of people, emotions are involved, and everybody just needs to kind of just keep it going. Just don't take it personal. That's how we do it.
Okay. So what seems like in the legal world, there's a lot of excitement up front. You sign the client on, there's things happening, and then it seems to go quiet for a while and then flare up, go quiet, flare up. Is that what you experience with the clients? Sometimes there's really not much going on for a month or two, or is it always busy?
Yeah, it's always busy, I'd say, but with the specific cases, people we start working, things are on hold. There's a procedural, there's a process that needs to be followed in the court. So it's not like we're going to be on the case all day, every single day doing things. So sometimes there is a time to hold. There's time frames that people don't understand. And that's when they start, oh, where's my attorney? Nobody has called me in the last week. And, we don't have to give an update every single day to the clients. And that's when they start where's my case? Where are we going with the case? I mean, if they want the retainer to be eaten up, with the fees, it's not, their money's not going to last very long. So I kind of let the clients know, look, there's a process before we need 45 days for this, or we need 20 days for this to happen. So during this time, it's going to be quiet. So that's if, this is the time that you're not going to really hear from us, because there is a process. We're waiting. And I think it does get a little crazy when they don't understand that process. And, a lot of people don't understand the process. So it's also the paralegal's job to, when we talk to the clients, of course, we can't give any legal advice, but we could go over there's a timeline that's being followed, unless they really need to speak to the attorney, then we will go ahead and schedule that. But for the time being, there will be quiet times.
How do you kind of manage your expectations? If someone's saying what's going on when they're all worried, how do you calm them down? And in a nice way, you say don't worry, we'll let you know when something happens. And, in the meantime, live your life, that kind of stuff.
I think that we know kind of the client when they first come in. There's sometimes clients who come in the middle of their case, and it's cases involving their children. And it's you could feel that energy of they want things done quickly. So it's once you first start speaking to the clients, you kind of already know, oh, this is a baby client. This is my baby. I've got to take care of this one. You kind of already know, and you're prepared for it. And definitely, I think just knowing that you understand the situation, that we are dealing with, multiple individuals who are going through problems, and we're here to help them and kind of give them that, that care and that understanding. I think that helps them to know. And that's part of the reason why the communication with a paralegal and having a paralegal in the office is so important, because we deal with those updates. We deal with the updates, we deal with the emotions. I mean, when you have attorneys preparing for trial, they're not going to be all day speaking to clients who, and it happens. So sometimes it happens, and people drive us crazy and they call 20 times, and, it happens. I mean, it's things that we cannot really avoid.
Yeah, when they call, do they demand to speak to the attorney? Do they think you guys don't know what's going on? Or do people realize that you may know more like if they call the attorney, they're running that, they're like, who is this? They got to look it up.
Yes. No, I think you know. I mean, in my case, it's like the paralegals get to know the clients. I mean, they speak to us a lot for updates. When am I going to get this date? So a lot of times it's like you can calm the situation down by just explaining. You could schedule if it's necessary, we will go ahead and schedule a call with the attorney. But definitely it helps because a lot of times when they do speak to the paralegal, it's like, okay, they're calm. They're kind of like, okay, I'll wait another week, or I'll say, oh, it's already tasked for the attorney to do. He's gonna get to it. Just give it a couple days. Like we do that. I think that's part of the job. It's part of the work that we have to do and managing the files.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, like, do the clients speak differently to you guys versus the attorney? Like, how do they? If they do, like, how do they talk differently to them?
I mean, it depends on the person. I mean, we deal with so many personalities. I think, in terms of like me, I could only speak for myself. Clients are very, very nice. I mean, they tend to be very nice, very calm, very, they're fine. I mean, it depends, because then we've had clients who they want to talk to the attorney and all of a sudden they're arguing on the phone because they're so frustrated about something that maybe happened in trial, that we have no control over that, like whatever happens in trial between, the judge, the client, and the attorneys are there. So, it could get to those points, but no, I think, no, it's kind of calm. People don't, when it happens, it's just you kind of calm the situation by speaking to them, I guess. And that's it.
What about as they go through a case, do the people get weary? They just want to give up or throw in the towel, or they say, I can't take it anymore?
Yes. I've heard a lot of, like, just very recently I had a client say, I want to kill myself, or, it could get very bad. So that it's like, at the same time, you're not just a paralegal, but you become kind of like a therapist, and you're trying to help people out. Like, no, it's not, it doesn't need to get to that. People get really, there's very sensitive cases. So I think that it's important to, kind of understand. And even some attorneys could be very harsh on people, very hard on them. I think we need to understand that the people are going through a really hard time. And there has been cases where people have committed suicide and it's gotten that way. So it's very important to kind of have that empathy and make sure that these people understand that, yes, it's a difficult time, but it's going to be okay. At least we could try.
Would you have like mediations in the office that you've observed when people come in, or you don't do that anymore?
We still do mediations. Yes, we still do mediations.
I wonder how uncomfortable that might be. Like if you have two people that, kind of don't like each other.
So messy.
Would you like some coffee and tea? And they're like, staring at each other across the table. And it must be emotionally, the air must be very thick.
Yes, and right now a lot of these mediations are done remotely, so I think that kind of gave us a little bit more of good. They don't have to be in the same room, but I'm sure at the courthouse when they do the ADR mediations, there people are in front of each other. Maybe they put them in separate rooms a lot of times. So I think the back and forth, I think the mediator gets tired of going back and forth. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely very emotional. It's a very emotional time, and people just need to. I don't know. It's the hard things in life that we need to deal with.
For the clients, like what makes a good client versus one that's just this, very difficult to deal with?
Wow. It's good when people kind of understand the process. There's people that you could explain something to them and they understand, they get it. They understand there's a timeline. They understand that there's a process. They know how to control their emotions. I believe those clients are the ones that are kind of more understanding in the terms of like the timelines. They're more flexible with themselves, I guess, with the emotions. They kind of control their emotions. That's important because a lot of people just, if they don't know how to do that, then they're going to be all over the place.
Okay, I see. So you said earlier on that I guess one of the biggest things you do is save the attorney's time. So what sucks up a lot of someone's time is the paralegal. Like, are you constantly having to call and get documents, and are people, are the clients there to help you gather documents, or you have to do it? It wouldn't take a lot of your time.
Yeah, drafting contracts, pleadings, discovery responses. Like if there's a deadline and people need to provide all their financial disclosure, like bank accountants and I don't know, insurance cards and all their personal information. and paperwork, a lot of times people will send us or bring to us a huge entire package of documents. And if all these documents are just a mess, of course, it takes up a lot of time to do that versus a client that will send everything via email in a Dropbox with everything nice and organized. That takes a lot of time to organize discovery. And if people come in with their documents organized, if they need to redact something, they've already redacted. If they do that, it actually saves us time, but it also saves the client a lot of money because they are definitely, it saves us time. So we're saving our time, that means that they're saving their money. So it's I always tell the clients, if you're going to drop off discovery, make sure you have it organized. It's going to help you because it does make a big difference. We also manage the files. We manage timelines. We communicate with the clients. We do follow-ups. We conduct legal research. We organize a fund, findings. So it's definitely it's a lower cost for the attorney and they get a high efficiency. We help them enhance the case preparation and compliance. So, definitely a paralegal is very important in a law firm for sure.
Yeah. How do you balance that? Let's say you got like 34 people that needs to give you financials and 12 of them you need to do pleadings for. And these 17, you need to schedule this. And it's like, it gets crazy. How do you guys deal with all that? Like you use a CRM helps you do it, or you have what kind of procedures?
I think when you first start at a law firm, it could get very overwhelming, especially in the smaller firms who don't have somebody that's basically setting hearings, another one that's doing. If you don't have that in a law firm, it could get very overwhelming. So what I came to the conclusion, I said, okay, I am not going to get every single thing done in 8 hours. So I kind of have my list. I look through my list. I set my priorities. So the cases that I really have to do something for, these are my cases. And these I'm going to get to. So I have to kind of just be organized with my times because if not, you'll lose your mind. You have to kind of just keep everything nice and organized and follow your own procedure so you keep your sanity because you'll lose your mind dealing with all the cases.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So case management, time management, organization, that's a big deal.
Okay. Do you find that a lot of attorneys are well organized, or are they like chickens without heads? Like, how do you deal with them if they're a mess?
I feel like, a good attorney needs a really good paralegal because they do deal with a lot, when they have to prepare for trials, they have to do, research, they have to know their cases before they come into the court. So it's important. Like, and how do you deal with one that doesn't have a head? It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. You just have to deal with them. I mean, you have to take care of their cases. That's why a paralegal is important because you have to be able to protect the attorney. We're always trying to keep track with date, keep up with trials, remind them, make sure the calendar's updated if we get an order because a court date changed. So we definitely, it's a big deal.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Okay. What I don't know, what is it like? I guess after you worked with an attorney for quite a while, does it get a lot easier, or how is it after the first few months?
It definitely gets a lot easier. I think you start getting to know the clients. You kind of connect more with your coworkers, with the attorney, and it starts getting a little easier in the sense of like knowing the cases, knowing, what's coming up for each case, knowing what cases are almost at the end, what cases are, needing certain things. So it gets a little easier. You become friends after a while. You're dealing with everybody else's things. So you kind of become friends, have a lot of stories to tell each other.
How long does it take when you start with a new attorney to kind of find a groove, and like what things would you go through with them when you first start with an attorney, when you first start working together?
I think within a week or two, I think you should start getting comfortable. I think first off, it's important in terms of personality, making sure that it's somebody you could work with, that you could handle each other's, personalities. And once you've gone through that, you break the ice with that first step. It's kind of like it all comes and it's easy to just keep it going with the cases and with the attorneys.
So you do family law, and then what's the other area you deal with?
Immigration.
Oh, okay. It's laughable, but are they different? Or are the people different?
They're very different, extremely different. At Less for Legal, for example, that's more of a document preparation service, and that's my own company. We there deal with a lot of National Visa Center cases, adjustment of status cases, and I noticed, especially lately, there's a lot of people that are worried about their immigration status. So the amount of stress that the people are going through, it kind of feels like the people that are going through their divorce case. case because, a lot of people are running the risk of being deported. And I'm dealing with a lot of that. A lot of people have been detained and they actually need an immigration attorney to handle their cases. And a lot of these people don't have the money to handle their cases. So, I'm glad that I'm able to help with Less for Legal. I could help people out with the document preparation, and I don't charge as much as an attorney does, but people go through a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot in both immigration and family law. So I can't compare, them both. Everybody's different and everything's difficult.
What's like a focus of the, okay, so people will come to Legal for Less directly for immigration issues. So even though you're not an attorney, if they want to work on the case themselves, you could at least help draft documents and submit stuff. And that the court will accept it.
Well, we never know, right? It's the same as an attorney getting a case. You never know if the case is going to be approved by USCIS or not. You handle the case. I always encourage people to hire an attorney. Of course, attorneys are, they're obviously, very knowledgeable. Less for Legal is focused on people that are dealing with family and immigration cases that they don't have the means to hire an attorney, like pay expensive retainers. So I think we take care of more of those individuals, or maybe individuals who clearly just don't want to deal with attorneys. A lot of clients are like, no, I don't want to deal with an attorney. I don't want to deal with a retainer. I prefer to just get the documents prepared by a paralegal and that's it. So you have a little bit of everything.
Okay. Do you deal with what ethnicities do you deal with in immigration? Is it all Spanish speaking, or is it just everything you can think of, or whatever?
There's a little of everything. There's a lot of Spanish speaking, but then there's also there's a lot of people that are not non-Hispanics that are dealing with immigration issues, and that's the thing, right? Everybody's Latino, like the people would think that, but there's immigrants from every single country, and I deal with everybody. As long as they could understand me, as long as they could understand me in my language in English or Spanish, I could handle their cases.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if you use ChatGPT, but do you hear from clients that they're using it like they used to use Google, to try to backseat drive the case?
Yes. I actually had someone call the law firm. I think they called the law firm and they said that they had all their documents prepared, that they just wanted the documents reviewed by an attorney. So we're getting a lot of those, and ChatGPT is great and makes your work very efficient, but it's not an attorney. It's not going to give you legal advice. It's not a paralegal maybe preparing the documents who's been working for attorneys for years, and they kind of have that expertise to properly prepare those documents. It maybe doesn't know the procedure based on your specific situation. So, you get now, I've heard of that happening, and I received a call from someone like this, but we can't, you can't have ChatGPT prepare documents for you, and then, how can you check my paperwork? No, we don't do that. It's great. I mean, I think ChatGPT is awesome, and it's great for people who know how to use it, but you have to know what you're doing, and you have to know what that process is. And there's a lot of things that you need to know. Example, in cases that there's children, property, division of assets, all of those things, definitely you need an attorney to give you advice and to help you navigate the system.
Okay. Have you considered doing other practice areas, or is it just, it's more than plenty to just stick with, family law and immigration?
I believe it's plenty. I mean, it's plenty already as it is. Even with the law firm I'm with, we're pretty busy there. In terms of my personal business, it's pretty busy here. I don't think I would be able to, wear another hat. I used to be very focused on my pageant world, all my commercials. I did a lot of multitasking before, but definitely I'm more focused now on the legal aspect of things. It takes a lot of your time and focus, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, very good. What's the best way for people to contact you? Like you're in West Palm Beach. How far, where in the state of Florida can you help people with immigration issues?
Sure. Less for Legal, LLC. We handle divorce cases, contested or uncontested, in all Florida counties. We do remote notary sessions for our clients, so I never really meet clients in person. We don't have to do that now. A lot of things are remote, and it's awesome having the remote notary sessions. We could even handle cases of individuals who are in different countries, right? Like maybe they're of course, the jurisdiction of their case, and they have to be a Florida resident. But let's say the wife lives in Florida for over 10 years and the husband just moved to Brazil and they want to get divorced and they want to do an uncontested case. I could definitely help the clients with those cases. And Google lessforlegal.com, and my phone number. They could call me personally. It's 561-908-44 26.
Okay. Well, very good. Well, Jesenia, thanks so much for talking honestly about all what goes on. And I can hear you're very passionate about what you do. And it's been really great to have you. Thank you.
Definitely. I love helping people out in their hardest time. So it's my honor to help people. Thank you.
All right.
If you like this podcast, please click the link in the description to subscribe and review us on iTunes.
Thank you for listening to the Good Question Podcast. Please email support@thegoodquestionpodcast.com if you have any referrals to great guests for us to interview. Visit thegoodquestionpodcast.com to hear more interviews. And please help us spread the word by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to this podcast.